Big disappointment today in Big D. I'm Jeff Biggs, host of the Cowboys Squad Show. This game, pretty much a microcosm of the Cowboys season. Pretty good in the first half, really bad in the second half.
Yeah, I'm Iisha Morrison, and I'm over it. So
Glenn Stretch Smith, and we are almost to the end. We are real close.
How about them Cowboys? It's the Cowboys Squad. Everything Dallas Cowboys every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from America's team the way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Get ready and squad up. It's the Cowboys Squad Show, starting now.
Well, we are going to squad up and we are going to show up. Unfortunately, it didn't look that way for the Cowboys in the second half. Credit to the Chargers. They played better. They're the better team. They're going to the playoffs, and they beat the Cowboys today 34-17. Welcome to the Cowboys Squad Show. And as always, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. Great to be with you on this Sunday. Wish it was under better circumstances after a win, but happy holidays and Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah and everything. Wish this game was a little piece of joy as well. Didn't turn out that way for the Cowboys. That's Iisha Morrison, along with former Cowboys coach Glenn Stretch Smith. Well, we are back. We got 2 games left to go. The Cowboys have 2 games left to go. Lots to talk about today, I should say. The first half, the good things, the elimination, getting shut out in the second half, Trayvon Diggs surprise return, Perion Winfrey got on the field, number 99, Quinnen Williams out, and the Cowboys shut out in the second half. Lots to get to, but I'm going to just start with this, guys. Like I said in my little tease, it's kind of like a microcosm of this Cowboy season. Look, really good glimpses we saw in the first half when the Cowboys put up 17 points and they just get completely shut out in the second half and just kind of pull the plug. That pretty much sums it up for me. What do you guys think?
yeah, I mean, offense is able to get some points on the board, and then they're just, at the beginning of the game, they're just trading touchdowns. There's just no resistance from the defensive side of the ball. And then the second half, you see that the Chargers started to look more themselves defensively, and Dallas just wasn't able to adjust to some of the things that they were doing. And even the things that they were doing as far as adjusting, trying to take some of those shots downfield with some of those blitz opportunities and stuff, they weren't able to hit on those because there was miscommunications. Then you run into the penalties that put you in, third and long situations, second and long situations, and going up against a defense that's already, that's a fast, aggressive defense. It really put them in a bad spot. So not cutting the offense any slack, but at the same time, man, listen, we got to be honest here. Coach has been saying it all year. If you have to score 30 points to win a game, it's just not football. I mean, it's just not football. It's just not how it goes. So just really wondering what's going to happen moving forward, but just trying to get through this 2 games and evaluate the talent that they have right now.
Coach, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, this is difficult for me because I know what it's like to be in a position where you are constantly facing immense criticism. I know what it's like to be in that exact spot. I say that to say that, I get paid here and by ABC and by ESPN to be an analyst. And so it is important to me as a Christian man that I give a good, solid, sound look at what my eyes see without being overly critical of an individual or certain people. I think you can get anybody and they can say something bad. So it is hard. It's a difficult thing. So I preface it by saying that, I have talked all year about bad leverage. I have talked all year about bad eyes. I have talked all year about bad feet. I talked all year about, and so none of that has changed. So now we have to decide, okay, where is the problem defensively with a team that for the sixth time this year gave up more than 34 points? Sixth time you give up more than 34 points. Now you can look at the other side and you can say the Chargers play nothing, but they play about 90% zone coverage. And you saw how they play zone coverage with great leverage. Everything is inside. And then if you happen to hit them in those soft spots in their zone, they rally, tackle, they do all the things that are well coached from that situation. What I have seen with the Cowboys is not that. It is not that. And I don't care who you line up out there. We could put, for that matter, we could put damn 10 soldiers out there. But I at least know where to line them up and how to play with correct leverage, correct eyes, all the things that you got to do. That's the hardest thing for me because we are in the 15th week of an NFL season, and we are talking about things that should have been corrected day one of OTAs. And so there's only one thing that you can point to in this situation, and that is the messenger, who's giving the message, and then are they not hearing the message? There's no other, seriously, as a guy who's just looking at it, there's no other way to look at that. I get it. Offensively, you were under stress all year long to go score 30. We could sit here and say, do I like the fourth down call to hand the ball to Lipke? Hell no. You got all kinds of other athletes out there to hand not hand the football to him. Is that why you lost the game? Nope.
No.
And so are penalties the reason you lost the game? They're a contributing factor. Or certain calls on the offense, they're a contributing factor. At the end of the day, you cannot make critical stops in a football game. They stopped them one time. They forced one punt. Well, I mean, it's got to be there. I mean, and to me, it's not going to surprise me if there's a change made in this situation very quickly, because whatever the message is, the players are not hearing it. And I don't know what the disconnect with Diggs is. I really don't. I don't. I watch a guy 1 minute who's got great feet and plays unbelievably, and then I watch him when they got cover 3 called, and McConkey just jogs into the back of the end zone for a touchdown. So what's wrong? Did you hear the call? Did you not get the call? Do you not understand the technique that's supposed to be played in that call? I mean, we're in 15 weeks of the season. I'm telling you, I'd be losing my mind if I was in that building. But this is where we're at, and where the Cowboys go from here, I don't know. But what's happened on one side of the football, I believe, has so deeply scarred the rest of the football team. You're going to have to make a drastic change to get over this, and we got 2 more games of this to look at.
I mean, I can tell you from being in the building and being around, and some of the reports and things that I've picked up is that there is a big disconnect between what the DC is asking and what the players are, being asked to do. But, I've been watching this team for a while now, in depth, watching tape on them. And my biggest thing is, Coach, you brought up the technique, especially at the DB position. I mean, these guys not getting their heads around. I mean, this is also, and the crazy thing is that some of these guys are gentlemen that we have seen take the ball away at a high clip. We have seen be able to find the ball in the air, have good tracking ability, stuff like that. And then you see them getting lost in coverage and things like that. So there are like, no one's playing well. That's the thing. No one's playing well. And that's the concerning part to me, is like, yeah, I know that there aren't a whole bunch of stars, quote unquote, on this defense, but like, no one looks like they understand what it is they're being asked to do. And also to, like the assignments. And so for me, I agree with you. I think that there will be changes made. And I hope that whatever change they make pairs well with what they want to do offensively, because I do agree. I think that the defense has put pressure on your play caller as well. Sometimes you may not be going for it as much if you did, if you weren't not sure about what your defense could do on the other side. So for me, it's just it's irritating, and it's kind of crazy to see. I mean, just to force one punt the whole game. And I know a lot of people are going to walk away from this again talking about the shutout in the second half with the offense and stuff, and that's valid, but it's also like this has been going on all season where the offense has put up points, came out, played pretty well, and they're asking for some balance or some at least some time to adjust. You know, they go up against, if they're going up, the Chargers defense is complex to a degree. They do a lot of things, disguising and stuff like that. It's normal for a play caller to have to get a feel, or an offense to have to get a feel for it. They don't have time for that. They don't have any opportunity for error. And I think that's why there's such a microscope on them. And again, we're going to evaluate the offense, whatever. But the microscope is like so magnified on them because there's so much urgency every single time the offense gets on the field, because no one believes that the defense can get a stop on the other side. And so I'm really calling for, fans and everyone alike to take a step back. Yes, we're going to evaluate the offense, but at the same time, this is not normal. It's not normal for your defense to give up 34 points. I mean, at one point in time, the Chargers were averaging 8 yards a play. That's not normal. And then on the other side of things, you're not able to affect the quarterback. I mean, how many times I saw it on film, Coach? I don't know if you saw it on film. Justin Herbert's footwork in the pocket and his ability to slide up between the A gap and the B gap and see daylight and run, or to be looking downfield to make plays downfield. He's been doing that all year. His mechanics are very sound. So I don't know why there would be no one is planning for the fact that this guy can slide up in the pocket. They use your aggression against you all day. They went against those 5-man fronts, and literally he slipped through the back door all damn day and made plays on the back end. And you hear Drew Brees saying, you got to do something. You have to adjust to some degree. And then we see Flus come out and have some 4-man fronts and then bring some nickel blitzes and stuff like that. But it's just like, well, what are y'all seeing that we aren't seeing to attack some of these offenses? And is it just not doable, like Coach was saying, or is there like an issue with the communication between, the play caller and the players? It just doesn't make sense. Like we break down film all week and see what it is that team does well, and then you just let them go out there and do it all day. Sorry, y'all.
To me, the frustrating thing for me is the simplest of things. That's what frustrates me. I see Revel running up the left boundary. Mm-hmm. You're running up the left boundary with a receiver, and he's in pretty decent position. In order to go play the football, instead of reaching with your left arm, do you think you can reach farther with your right arm or with your left arm? Can reach farther with your right arm. So in something that should be as simple as a day one, pedal, flip, turn your hips, run, and go play the football in the air. We're at week 15. He reaches with his right arm, ball's off his fingertips, touchdown. It's right there. What? To make a play? You can't make a play? I can't hear the simplest of things that should be done. I can't hear it anymore. I can't see a defensive back playing man coverage in 3rd and 4. What do you think they're going to throw? Slant? You think that might be a possibility? And you're standing there with all 10 cleats in the ground? I don't understand that. Get your damn great toes in the ground and get ready to pedal and drive on the damn football.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
I'm
talking about simpleton things. So they're not. What that tells me as an analyst, they have turned you off. They are not listening to anything you're saying. They don't give a damn what you say. And so for the next 2 weeks, instead of having individual meeting time, Let's just play ping pong. Let's play dominoes. Let's just play a little go fish, and let's just do something else. Because you know what? They're not hearing you. They are not hearing you. It won't surprise me if they don't make a move tomorrow in this situation, because they're not listening to the message right now. And all you have to do is watch 10 plays to see that.
Well, and that was, you kind of beat me to the punch there, Coach, but I was going to say they moved Matt Eberflus to the coaching booth.
Oh yeah, that's
but
that's definitely a part of the
exit strategy.
Oh, absolutely. I mean that was my thought. I said, oh, this is how it is when you start, you dating somebody and you maybe not liking them as much, you start slow texting them. That's that personified. But yeah, no, I've been close to the building, as you gentlemen know, and this is something that's been brewing for a long time. I think that the message has not been getting through to the players for the majority of the season. And I think you can see that in the play. Guys doing their own thing, making their own decisions. And I want to also say, I believe that Al Harris has missed a lot more in this room than I think we have mentioned, and what he has been able to do with those DBs in Chicago, I think is a testament. Some of those guys are having their best years under his coaching. Well and so I want to make sure, as we're talking about this side of the ball, the defensive side of the ball, there have been some losses. And I think you see that in some of the technique and the changes that these guys are going through as well.
All right, we're going to take our first time out. When we come back, I want to ask you a specific question about the defense. We got a lot to get to, a lot of questions about some guys that were back this weekend for the first time, and want to get your thoughts on that. We got to talk about the offense, and what a bummer, though. I really wanted to see the Cowboys really try to fight, and at least, like, I understand you want to shut it down, you want to rest some guys at the end of the season, but come on, your home finale, you got to go out and win that game, especially after the first half you had. Didn't work out that way, though. We will get into that and more. Great to be with you. We got a lot of people commenting. Thank you for your comments. We'll get to those also. This is the Cowboys Squad Show. I want to talk to you about Car Gurus, right, and what they're doing at Car Gurus, because car shopping, it should feel exciting, not confusing. And with Car Gurus, you get the confidence you deserve. They cut through all the noise so you can actually see the best deals on the cars you want. Because when it comes to a big purchase, you deserve the best deal, right? And Car Gurus makes the whole process simple by giving you real information, real deal ratings, and more listings than anyone else. So you can shop the way that you want. Now, here's a couple things. Number one, if you use Car Guru's deal ratings to compare cars quickly, you can do it without having to guess whether the price is fair, right? It's all right in front of you. You'll love being able to filter by everything. Like, it's great. I mean, mileage, trim, features, what you want, what you don't want. So you're only seeing cars that you really want, that actually fit what you need. And they have this cool thing. It's a price drop alert. So it's a lifesaver. You get notified the second that a car you're watching becomes an even better deal. How cool is that? And the in-depth vehicle reviews help you to really understand what ownership actually looks like, not just how the car looks online. Okay? So Car Gurus connects you with trusted dealerships for a transparent and hassle-free buying process with over 4 million listings. And that's the most of any major online automotive marketplace. You're hearing a lot of different things, but with Car Gurus, you'll always find the best deal. So shop the way you want with the tools, data, and unbiased deal ratings that make it easy. Buy or sell your next car today at cargurus.com. That's Car Gurus, CARGURUS.com, cargurus.com. All right, I get to hang with the Cowboys gurus, Iisha Morrison and former Cowboys coach Glenn Stretch Smith. Cowboys dropped their home finale to the Chargers 34-17. Cowboys had a really really nice first half. They scored on all of their possessions in the first half, and you're thinking, okay, this is going to be a shootout, but they were not able to put any points on the board in the second half. Dak Prescott was eventually pulled for Joe Milton. And so, Iisha, I was going to run this by you and Coach. Matt Eberflus goes to the press box, but the fact that we knew going in, I mean, Justin Herbert is as great of a season as the Chargers are having. He's been hit more than anybody. I mean, he's been taking a beating. I mean, he is, and that's one of the reasons why you watch them and you think, well, okay, they're good, but they're not going to last in the postseason with that offensive line and all the hits that he's taken. Good defense is going to get them off the field. The Cowboys didn't get any sacks. I mean, the pressure was minimal. Chargers completely adjusted in the second half. And so my question, Iisha, I completely agree with Coach. Like, look, I'm not, it's not a joy to get up here and say, I want this guy fired or this guy should, it's not what it's all about, but it is a results business. And so I'm thinking, Iisha, I mean, if there's somebody on that staff, like if they think White Cotton is defensive coordinator material or somebody else, why not let them take a crack at it the final two games?
Well, I think that's what Coach was saying. That he kind of expect. Well, he wouldn't be surprised if this is something that, I mean, to finish the season and to boost morale. Because I mean, come on, you think they don't know? You think these players don't see what's happening? You think they don't know what's going on? So I mean, maybe White Cotton was the guy to. Obviously, he was down on the sideline today as Flus was in the booth today. I don't know. I don't know if this is an in-house thing or whatever, but for the last couple games, fine, I guess. But yeah, I think Jerry, to quote Jerry today, he said, "We all underachieved."
Ouch. That's
what he said. In reference to the record for this year, 6-8-1. He said we all underachieved, and I would agree.
Yeah, I mean, it is. This is one of the most difficult things for me and I'll just give you a point of reference because I was obviously critical of Mike Nolan when he was here, and then 3 years later, I'm coaching against Mike Nolan. He walks in our meeting room and introduces himself, and I'm like, man, I was as hard on this guy as I could be on anybody, and it's difficult. I mean, this profession it's a very difficult, magnified scenario in a profession that there's everybody is watching and everybody sees what's going on. Here's kind of it in a nutshell for me is, let's say you do move on from the coordinator. His message has spread throughout. He's put his defense in. I'm not. I mean, it doesn't matter in my mind what you do these last two games, other than just say to yourself, how are we going to finish this in a positive way? You guys hear me say all the time, I'm all about the arrow turn the right direction. I don't know that you can turn the arrow the right direction here. It is so it's so painful to watch, and I'm sure it is for the Cowboys fans. I'm sure it is for everybody who has to cut it on and watch it. And so it's really unfortunate right now. And 2 weeks from whenever the Black Monday is, we're going to see a bunch of guys lose their jobs, and that's the unfortunate side of this deal. But I don't know how I don't know how you can keep going into the building and hearing this same message, because they've obviously tuned it out. So it's hard to say. I don't know, Iisha. I mean, maybe I'm saying it the wrong way.
No, I mean, you're saying
it's just a difficult situation.
That's what's happened. And I think a part of this too, I mean, when Jerry says we all underachieved, I think the front office, and again, I know, Coach, you're very careful to do those things, but I'm still new to this, so I'm a little bit more open with how I talk about things, I guess. But I do think that the front office is accountable for this as well. You brought in a majority zone coach when you know that a lot of your personnel is used to man. I think that was detrimental. You know that his system is highly reliant on a certain type of linebacker. You let him bring in those guys, and the gentleman that he brought in, although some of their film could, suggest that they could play the spot, the linebacker play has been incredibly poor, and the majority of the gentlemen that are at that spot are gentlemen that you brought in. So it's just a mixture of not having the right personnel, trying to get your personnel that doesn't fit this scheme to fit this scheme. And injuries and things like that have happened. The loss of Micah. I mean, it's just been a lot of different things. But like I said, I say it all the time. In the military, they used to tell us if everybody's failing the test, then it's the teacher. Then the teacher has to look at it. The teacher has to look at what's going on, and everybody's failing. Quentin Williams, even this last couple games, hasn't been himself. I mean, the bad is rubbing off on him. It's rubbing off on him.
Yeah,
so,
I agree. I agree. That's why I can tell you why. I can remember when I was in school and I set my big ass right up in the front row because I wanted to see them. I wanted them to see me every day. All 6, 7 of my ass sitting right up front so they could see me because I was going to go in afterwards. If I didn't hear the message, I was going to be the one to say, hey, you know what? I was sitting right there. You remember that? Maybe it's the message that I'm not getting. Maybe it's yours. So yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I think if we have a common denominator in this particular math equation, we have figured that out. And with James Slater coming out last week and reporting that Jerry had hired Matt Eberflus before he hired Schottenheimer, and we know what type of dysfunction that can lead to. And, we could sit here and be critical of a lot of different scenarios. I think you make a good point, though, Iisha. It's not just the scheme. They've made some bad decisions on some players. They let a guy out of the building go to Chicago that's playing as Sean Rice. I mean, he was in your building. He's been NFC Defensive Player of the Week a couple of times. He punched the ball out last night and got a fumble on the 1 yard line. I mean, makes plays all the time. Who's responsible for that? Who's responsible for giving all of these guys, Murray, all of that money? Responsibility has to come from somewhere. Somebody has to hold and be accountable for that particular scenario. So there's enough blame to go around. And you make the point. Is it pro personnel? Is it college scouting? Are they relying on the fact that they had a second-round grade on Jonathan Mingo when he was coming out of college, and they thought it would be a good idea to give up a 4th-round pick for him, and he can't get on the field now?
Yeah, and then you had Ryan Flanoy right there, and back to the offense. I think that him going out this game did change some things for you because you're putting Turpin really in those opportunities now. Jalen Tolbert is inactive, so that's the only other receiver that I think that you trust, and that didn't prove to be as effective. Turpin hasn't been as effective in receiving spots either. So I think one of the positives I will say is that I think Ryan Flanoy is really a wide receiver 3. He has been incredibly reliant in the time that he's been called upon. He's a hard player, blocks hard, pretty sure-handed outside of the fumble the other week. This guy is a hard worker. And I am glad that he has had the opportunity to shine in this offense, despite the fact he's one of the things that I am looking forward to next year, despite the fact, and maybe this next couple of games, despite what's been going on offensively.
Yeah, I mean, they have figured out that he is a good player. Now, why is it taking them so long? I don't know. When did they get the confidence in him? I don't know. I mean, I feel the same way about Span Ford. I feel the same way about, this is a good enough offensive team to win the division and any division in the NFL. Unfortunately, the other side of it is how many ways can we cut it up, or how many ways can we say that it's not good? And yes, it's personnel, and yes, it's scheme, and yes, they are not hearing the message, and we come on here as analysts week after week and say that. I'm to the point now where, like, my head is hurting from hitting it against this computer. Bam! I mean, it hurts. I'm tired of hitting my head on this computer, and I'm tired of saying the same thing.
All right. Well, let me ask you both something new that we saw today that was kind of a surprise. I think everybody kind of figured, kind of assumed, there was kind of a consensus that Trayvon Diggs had played his final game as a Cowboy. I think multiple people said, you'll never see him put on that helmet again, and he was out there today. Did that surprise both of you? And I know he got burned on the Ladd touchdown, but the fact that he did play, they did bring him back, what does that say to you about his future? I mean, does he have a chance to kind of turn the corner, turn the page, and get ready for next season, or do you think he'll still be gone?
What does it say about his future, or what does it say about the defensive coordinator's future?
His future.
No, Trayvon Diggs. You're looking at the wrong angle. To me, this says they're done with the defensive coordinator, and they're going to see if they can if in fact he can still play some man coverage, and if he can still do some things. Maybe we don't want to get rid of him. Maybe that's not something we want to do.
Oh yeah, that's exactly how I took it. I took it as they trying to get some tape on him and see what he got, because regardless, he's still on your payroll. So regardless, they trying to see what they got, especially at the cornerback position, which I feel like is going to have an overhaul. I think the DB position in general. I think Dallas will take a look at the safety position. I mean, those guys, Donovan Wilson and Malik Hooker have been efficient, but they've gotten a little long in the tooth. Your backup guys have not been able to be as efficient. We saw Marquise Bell struggle again today. I hate to say it. He's been one of my favorite players. But the secondary in general, I think, is going to have a complete overhaul. I mean, do you expect Kalen Carson to be back next year? I don't know. He's been riddled with injuries his whole time here. Josh Butler is another guy that, is on the downside of the roster. I thought maybe he would get an opportunity to play today. False. Triquez Bridges is a UFL guy. Yeah, UFL guy that came in. I thought he did some good things on punt coverage today, but as a boundary corner has not played well. This whole secondary, I could see change, and I could see them trying to work Trayvon and see what they have from him. So you're not starting from scratch. You can't start from scratch like that. It's just not how it is. You got to have some veteran players on this defense, and if they can come back with Duran after the surgery, Trayvon and Revel, then I guess maybe they think they're off to a good start. But those guys are all injury guys that have had serious injuries. I think that's a huge portion also of, Coach, what we should talk about moving forward is the injuries that have happened and how you can move forward. And you can't prevent injuries. You can't do any of those things. But when you go back to the front office and the evals, a lot of these guys are this is a consistent thing that is happening, is that you are taking some guys that have dealt with injuries before and stuff like that, even re-signing Bland. You re-sign Bland despite the foot. You pick up Savon Revel, which I thought was a good pickup in value-wise in the third. I think he still has some growing to do. But Kalen Carson, another guy that struggles with injuries, how do they turn this around, Coach, on the secondary with all the injuries and guys maybe not returning?
Yeah, I mean, I think you've got to. I'm for playing all those guys. I was glad to see Bridges in there today. I'm for playing Carson. I'm for if Butler's healthy. I'm for all of those guys getting a real look, and I mean a hard look, and see if in fact they fit with what you want to do moving forward. And then you've got to decide from a draft standpoint, and I'm way away from any of that, saying, boy, we got to when you kill yourself in the draft is when you draft for need. And so I don't want to shoehorn myself there. But what I do want to do is I do want a solid, sound film on all of these guys. Well, you say, well, what about evaluation? That'll be the next guy's job. But I want solid sound film on every one of them so that then when they decide the direction that they're going to go, they can all look at that film together They can see what's good, what's not good. They can see strengths, they can see weaknesses, and then they can go make a decision.
Yeah.
I was just, I'm sorry, not to cut you off. I was just reading that, speaking of Jane Slater, Coach, so we've all been wondering what kept Trayvon out for so long, and what was the issue, what was the real injury, and now he came back today. Well, apparently he told her that he was trying to install something on the ceiling, and a pole mount fell on his head, and thought it was not a big deal, but obviously it was. That's according to Jane's post. But still, nonetheless, I think, like I said earlier, a lot of people thought he was never going to play for the Cowboys again. And I don't know. Do you think that was just a media thing, or do you think, Iisha, like you said, maybe the Cowboys they had a change of heart and said, we can't just get rid of him. We've already paid him a bunch of money. We might as well try to see what we have.
I mean, it's also the position that they're in too. Like I said, with the injuries that have been happening in the secondary, you almost had to play him. But also too, I think one thing that I've been hearing this week is that he was not picking up cover 2. I don't know. That is what I was told, is that he was having trouble with some of they weren't happy with his understanding of some of the things they were asking him to do coverage wise. And one thing about Trayvon, he is not one of those players that's going to mince words. If he thinks that what's happening is not conducive, he's going to say something. And I think that he has butt heads this season with the DC. And I guess you kind of, Coach, I don't know, you were a coach, that happens, right? Players might speak up sometime and say things, but I don't know if that was well received, given that Trayvon was coming off of an injury. To that point, he hadn't particularly played well. So that's my understanding.
Here's a guy that's played 19 of 40-something games since he signed a big extension. Does he deserve to be criticized? Maybe. Did he not handle his off-season responsibilities in the way that his contract said that he should? Yeah. Does he have a problem with someone's in the training room? Is there a problem with how he felt like he wanted to rehab and they felt like they needed him to rehab? This is the second time he's had the injury. I don't know. I do know this. He's been coached by arguably the best defensive back coach in the history of football. Nick Saban, you say what you want to about him. The one thing I do know, he can coach a defensive back. I will promise you. He can coach a defensive back, and he can coach the hell out of a defensive back. And I'm talking about the finer points. So he's been coached and mentored by the best. Might he personally have some issues? Maybe. I don't know. What I do know is he's been coached by the best. So for anyone to tell me he has issues with cover 2, no. I'm
telling you, that was my thought.
I understand. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm
agreeing with you. Is that was my thought?
Like today, that when he let McConkey get behind him, to me, I look at that. I see a safety in the middle, and I see a corner to the boundary. They're playing 3. That's your responsibility. That top third. Does he know cover 3? Hell yeah, he knows cover.
Hell yeah, he knows. That's all Dan Quinn ran.
Right. So he's known, but I'm saying Dan Quinn, he knew that when he was playing back in college. So again, all I'm saying is somewhere, if you don't see anything that I'm telling you, somewhere there is a massive disconnect between the message, the messenger, and the ears that it's supposed to go through. There's a massive disconnect there. And Hey, has he had a bad set of circumstances where he was changing a light and something fell on him and whatever? Yes. He had terribly unfortunate injury news since he signed his contract extension. Yes, I think he's torn his ACL twice, if I'm not mistaken. So all of those things have to be taken into consideration. But what I'm saying as I sit here today on the 21st of December, what they did today was exactly what should have been done from an evaluation standpoint. And that is put him in the football game, let him play football. Because guess what? You guys hear me say this all the time. You're not writing in a pencil anymore. You're writing in Sharpie. It's like being on Google. It's forever. So you're putting out there what is forever. So if you want to, I'm going to put him out there and challenge him in that way. And if you want to put some bad tape of yourself out there, go ahead. Put out there. And I think that's exactly what they did while getting an evaluation. Can he help this football team moving forward, especially if we decide to change scheme on that side of the football?
All right. Hold that thought. When we come back, I want to ask you about some other players, and we'll get into the offense a little bit as well, kind of look ahead what the game plan might be with a short week, a Christmas Day matchup in Washington coming up for the Cowboys as they wrap up the regular season with 2 games on the road against the Commanders and the Giants. This is the Cowboys Squad Show. I want to talk to you about FanDuel because it is that time of the year, as you know. NFL Sundays move fast, one big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you are reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. And live betting really is at its best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. Live spreads and money lines adjust naturally. Player props update as guys heat up, and you can bet the next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. It really keeps you locked in, no pun intended, locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. All right, we're back. The Cowboys Squad Show. Iisha Morrison, Glenn Stretch Smith, as the Cowboys lose to the Chargers 34-17, their final home game. Quick turnaround. They will play at Washington on Thursday and then wrap up their season a week from next Sunday against the Giants at the Meadowlands. All right, Iisha, give me just some quick thoughts. There was no Quentin Williams today. He's kind of dealing with a concussion, so they kept him out as a precaution. Totally get that. DeMarvion Overshone left the game in the first half of the concussion, but we did see Perrion Winfrey make his debut. Another tough game for Kenneth Murray. What did you, anything stand out to you today? Again, we were just talking about it. No pressures, no hits really on Herbert, which is probably be like one of their best games ever in that department for the Bulls.
Yeah, I mean, what Dallas sought out to do was a rush contain, which they failed at because they contained the edges. They contained, him on the inside, but he was able to, like we talked about, escape in the middle of the defense. I think you did miss Quentin Williams' presence. I thought Perrion Winfrey had some good plays at the beginning of the game. You could see that his legs were fresh. He really pops off the ball. I think, he's conditioning now. So seeing him kind of not be as effective as the game went on made sense to me because this is his first NFL game, in week 15. So just going to be keeping an eye out on him. He is very lengthy, very powerful. He's quick off the line of scrimmage. So he gives a lot of interior players some issues. He's someone that I hope that he can get some good tape this next couple games like Coach was talking about. So, maybe you'll bring him back next year. We saw Kenny Clark have a couple good plays But yeah, just the interior, they really didn't push you around the interior. They really attacked you on the edges. And
Yeah.
to me, I think that's an indictment on, again, your edge play outside of Clowney. Donovan Izuraku has been better there, but there are times he can get, pushed inside, and the linebackers were not able to fill. I mean, you saw, what is that man's name? Oh, we saw Logan Wilson, who just seems very similar to, why can't I remember? The linebacker that they brought in from the Bears. It's very similar to him, where
Oh, right.
it's just
Jake,
not. He's
yeah.
just, what's the name?
Jake. I'm drawing a blank.
It's not Jake. I don't remember his first. It's not ringing a bell to me right now. I'll get it. But he struggled, and just the speed isn't there from the linebacker position. And then Kenneth Murray, he had his fair share of troubles today. They brought him on that A gap blitz, and he missed the tackle. Justin Herbert just again slips through the A gap, sees the open field, the field open up, makes the big play down the field to Quentin Johnson. It just wasn't enough from a pressure standpoint. And when you're going up against a quarterback like him, quick pressures are beneficial, but you got to get there. Like, you got to get there. He's a very good improvising quarterback, because again, he's used to not having protection. So he can feel the pressure very well, and Dallas just wasn't able to get to him enough today. And again, Dallas really opted to go with those 5-man fronts, and they ate that mess up all game. And there wasn't really an adjustment until the second half. So I just don't think, I also thought, and I don't know how you felt, Coach, I thought some of the alignments were weird, considering some of their fronts. There were times that they went jumbo and you were too light in the ass. You're too small out there. You miss Quentin Williams for sure. It's just
This is a Chargers team who was very depleted on the offensive line. I mean,
we've said this all season.
4 or 5 starters. Yeah. So they were going heavy in some situations where they were bringing another guy in. They got that big, huge fullback, and so I mean, with Quentin being out, I know they, and I think it's great. Get Winfrey in there, get some evaluation on him.
Sanborn is the name. Jack Sanborn.
I know. I saw. It was not coming.
They were. The issue was not. Again, it was not. I didn't think they were that out schemed up front. Now they got blown off the ball a little bit down there in those short yardage and goal line situations, but that happens. I mean, I'm not gonna say a whole lot or ding them in that category. I do think that right now, you're seeing some fronts and seeing them do some things that I don't think, quite frankly, I don't think they've ever done, but they're looking for answers, and they don't have any. They don't have any answers. And so, I mean,
and even with the front, and even with the front,
he was playing 2-man today, and Herbert gallops for 40 yards. I mean, and that can happen in those situations. So,
that's what I was about to say. Even with the fronts, it's like, the fronts might. I mean, the defensive tackles, there's times that they're setting up the linebackers, and linebackers ain't getting there.
Right.
So it's like, it doesn't matter.
So, Iisha, what is that word when the front doesn't match the linebackers and doesn't match the back end, and so it's poorly coordinated?
Yeah, it's not. It's a mismatch. Like the pass rush is not, and that's why you see teams being able to be as successful against the pass as well. Is that the secondary is not it's not married to the front seven, and it's just been rusty and dusty all year. I mean, the communication and things like that, and the busted plays, the explosive plays. It's just been rough, and so I think that Dallas has some guys that are good on the interior on both sides. We haven't talked about it much, but we saw them kick out Tyler Smith to the left tackle spot.
Yes,
I thought he did fine. That was a terrible call on the holding of the touchdown, by the way. That was a terrible call.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's something like, obviously Guyton has been banged up. That's really, really stifled his growth to me, is the injuries that he's been through in his first couple years. Nate Thomas has struggled, and I think Dallas didn't want to see Dak getting hit blindside or struggling the way that I think they understood that they were going to need some better protection there at that position. TJ Bass played at the left guard position. Wasn't the prettiest from him all the time. Cooper Beebe went down for a little bit. Hey. Do we need to write a letter or something? What's wrong with the Chargers and all this damn eye poking? Just poking people. I mean, Donovan Wilson had to go out with an eye poke. Cooper Beebe had to go with an eye. I'm joking because I know it happens sometimes, but twice in one game, I haven't seen it happen before. I think that Booker had some issues with Tart's power at times in this game as well. So I think the offensive line as a unit has some room to grow. They have some room to grow. You got some young guys and stuff like that. They got to figure out what the left tackle spot's going to look like moving forward. But I overall have been encouraged to a degree about the scheme and some of the stuff they were doing. I don't know if you noticed, Coach, what they were doing. They were having Cooper Beebe kind of loop around and catch the free rusher just to give Dak some extra time to make some of those plays downfield. That was something that we haven't seen this last couple of weeks. I thought that was smart. So I think that Clayton Adams does a pretty good job with, and Connor Riley, of course, do a pretty good job with the offensive line. They got some room to grow, but I wasn't, as a unit this year, pass protection hasn't been where I wanted it, but I'm not down on what the offensive line can continue to grow to.
Yeah, I think, you've seen them run some of that, whether the center or the guard is uncovered, they'll pull him out and let him look outside, which I think is, all of those things are good schemes that they've let the tight end, and especially span forward, they've let him kind of knock his way out at times. And so all of those things are good. I really don't see any issues with this football team moving forward offensively. Pickens answered, and he showed you he's a big-time football player. I hope they can pay him. I hope they can pay Javonte. But, I am going to tell you, I don't like our return team very well. I've always felt like there are one or two opportunities that Cavante could get loose. I haven't seen that this year, so I think that's, if you want a little bit, kind of sit back and say, well, why are our returns? Do you want to do some self-scout? Do you want to do some look at yourself? Why are our returns not as good? And then, from a coverage standpoint, they're inconsistent with how they cover from a special teams side. But offensively, this is an offensive line that was a little beat up, and we know they're still a little beat up. But I do like when guys can interchange and play different positions. I think that helps you over the long run. And in a game like this, to put Tyler out there at tackle, that's only going to help him. That's going to continue to help him be a better football player. So. Yeah, I'm with you there, Iisha. I think Cowboys. I'm still a little disappointed. For whatever reason, they don't have the confidence in blue. I want to see what you got in blue. I really do. If it's not there, then just admit to the mistake and move forward. If he's healthy, in fact, because he's had ample opportunity to get in the football game and hadn't been able to do it.
All right. Hold that thought. Our final timeout. I want to ask you about that and more in our final segment coming up next. This is a really quick timeout. This is the Cowboys Squad Show. Cowboys drop their third in a row. They fall to the Chargers at home today. Their home finale, 34-17, 2 road games to wrap up the regular season. Christmas Day against the Commanders, and then the finale against the Giants. All right, so picking up on where you left off, Coach, and Iisha, with no Jaden Blue today, I thought the Cowboys actually ran the ball pretty well early in the game. Their second drive, Williams looked great, and then again, I think the two big plays, the Cowboys not getting it on 4th and 1 in the third quarter, and then the Chargers, that big 3rd and 7 when Herbert took off for 34 yards. That pretty much those two plays put an end to it. So Dak Prescott, he wasn't benched, but he was removed late in the game to let Joe Milton finish off. My question to you is, if you're the Cowboys, you got these 2 games left. How important is it, Coach and Iisha, to let these guys try to win and end on a positive note versus, hey, you got a $60 million quarterback that you don't want to get injured in any way with 2 meaningless games. How do you balance that out? What's the game plan, do you think, for these final 2 games?
I don't know, because the quarterback crazy. The quarterback won't play. So I think it's going to be difficult to do. I was actually surprised to see Milton go out, to try it out there, to be honest. Just because the quarterback is kind of like that about, he don't really like sharing ribs like that. But I mean, yeah, I guess you should be prioritizing trying to get this run game going. And like Coach said, I mean, it just speaks to me. The Malik Davis call up spoke to me what they thought about Jaden Blue.
Yeah, huge.
And at this point of the season, to not see him on the field, it's just, I don't know. I mean, it could be one of 2 things. It could be, well, they don't trust the player, or they don't, think the player's ready, or they could just be like, okay, well, this is a next year guy, maybe. But I think we might see Phil Maffa next week. I know he is injured his 21-day practice window. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what this running back room is going to look like next year. I think it could be completely different. And that, unfortunately, is to not include Javonte Williams. I hate that, but it feels like we don't know. The way the Cowboys operate, they probably going to make us choose between Pickens and him, because that's how they do us. Can't never have peanut butter.
I don't think they're going to put Blue in there as long as Dak is a quarterback, because I don't think they trust him from a protection standpoint. And I think you can get your quarterback killed in these kind of situations. So
yep,
it's good for you. But if you're going to play Milton, which I would highly suggest playing Milton the second half of at least the second halves of the next 2 games, then when he's in there, then Blue's in the game too. And you are in a position where you can make what I feel like is some real headway from a personnel standpoint when you have 2 football games to play. You really can. You can evaluate big time. I mean, I loved it. Milton run out, he's holding that ball like he is in 7-on-7 and gets whacked. And the ball came out, and I'm looking for the Benny Hill bouncing all the guys. Yeah, do all that. Because guess what? It's not 7-on-7 anymore. They're going to try to knock your teeth in, and you're not going to understand. I can tell you that. And you know what? But you're not going to understand until you get in the game. And then when you get in the game, you get to see yourself holding it out there like a loaf of bread, and it gets whacked out. Then you learn, and that's a learning curve that you should absolutely take advantage of.
I tweeted he was holding. I knew it was going to be a fumble from how he was carrying it from the start. I tweeted he was holding it like a honey bun. Because you said a loaf of bread, it was a honey bun. So I don't know why he was holding that ball like that. But I guess I can't decide. I can't decide if, seeing the offense go play is going to be healthy for them, confidence building for them, or if that's too far blown at this point. What is really the priority here, and are we going to treat it? I mean, we'll see. But would you be surprised, gentlemen, if Dallas treated this next 2 games like preseason games, especially given that you're going up against division opponents?
Yeah,
I don't think the coach gonna move like that.
I wouldn't say so much like a. Yes, you're saying it right. I'm just saying.
Evaluate.
A more extended playing time, because you don't have the numbers you normally do, Iisha, in the preseason.
Tracking that. So I guess more so that we will see maybe some guys that we haven't seen, maybe some gentlemen that haven't gotten as much playing time, maybe some of the starters playing time lessons. Is that something y'all expect to see? Is kind of where I'm at.
100%, I do. I mean, I want to see Bass and Hoffman and who was the lineman they put in? I can't pronounce his name in my thick Texas accent. Adonijah.
Oh, Adeniji?
Yeah, I want to see him.
I want to see
absolutely.
I wonder if is Cornelius. I know he got a little banged up at the beginning of the year. Cornelius is their rookie tackle. I got to see him a little bit at camp, and honestly, I like his athleticism. The athleticism is similar to a Steele's when you're talking about getting out in space, trying to get to the second level. I want to see. I watched him intently in the Rams practice, and I thought that he did some good things. I wouldn't mind seeing him, especially since you are going to be evaluating the right tackle spot. With not knowing if you are going to bring back a Terrence Steele or not at this point. So I wouldn't mind seeing somebody else line up there. And shout out to Terrence Steele. Hasn't missed a damn snap, and this is the third season.
Yeah.
Shout out to Terrence Steele. I know people have
50 games or something.
Yeah, I know we get on to him, and he can have his slip-ups and things like that, but reliability and availability is a big part of your place on a team, and he has made it to where you, even though there's some struggle there, you're not thinking about the right tackle spot from a depth position because he's just always available. So shout out to him for being available, period.
Hey, and shout out to both of you for being available today. Appreciate it. And on Christmas Day as well. At least we got the early game. So that'll be good. Iisha, Coach, flew by. Thanks for your input and great insight as always, breaking everything down. Appreciate it. Lots of questions, and we'll start to get the answers beginning on Thursday. But until then, we'll talk to you on Thursday. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Iisha. Thank you to everybody watching live and later on. Thank you for all of your comments. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Have a great week. Cowboys fall to the Bolts 34-17. They haven't beaten them here in Texas since 1990.
I'm going to end it on something positive. Give us some Merry Christmas, Jeff. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, too. And I'll say it to you again on Thursday, but you too. Awesome. This has been the Cowboys Squad Show.